Okay, hey, beautiful people. And when I mean beautiful people, I don't just mean beautiful on the outside. I mean beautiful minds, beautiful hearts, beautiful spirit. Hey, welcome. I am T Lady, aka T Smith or Teresa, or T, mommy, wife. Those are all my names. Baby girl, and I've been called much more than that. But y'all can call me T Lady. This is my intro video just to really let you guys know who I am and what's my purpose. The purpose of me doing these is for my healing, to tell my story, and hopefully we're gonna have some little distraction. You know, that's just what it is. To tell my story with all its imperfections, all its beauty, and all its ugly, because I've really just been dealing with a lot of mental and emotional as well as spiritual challenges. And God has been amazing through the whole journey. Um, and I just want to share that with y'all. So let's start off from where I'm from. And excuse the imperfection. Yeah, it's real out here. Though. We're gonna, like we say in Houston, it's trill. So, like I said, my teeth ain't perfect. Ain't nothing about me perfect. I'm not even trying to be, but I am me. I be the best me that I can be in all its glory, as beautiful and as ugly as it can get. I am real or true, as you would say. So yeah, you're gonna see imperfections. This ain't no professional YouTube page yet. When we get there, then y'all be able to enjoy the journey with us. Right now, it's true. It gets hot. Look, we thugging it, and this is how it is. All right. So you're gonna see kids coming in my background. You might see my husband ask me for stuff. This is no by any means professional. This is trill. We are representing a trill light, and trill light is something that the Holy Spirit sent to me to deliver to y'all. Trill light means God's honest message of what He needs us as Black people to understand and overcome before we can help all our other races, all our other family members. We need to help heal and build with and for ourselves. So when you come on this page, on this channel, everything that we do is going to be reflecting that true life. It's going to be reflecting God, but we are real people, and it gets real trill out here. So you're going to see all of that. You're going to see our healing, us taking accountability on this page. You're going to hear our truths, but you're going to also see our love and our truth. So stay tuned. Let's just start off with where I'm from. I'm originally from Los Angeles, California. Grew up in the hood. I ain't gonna lie. Around West Hollywood area of Vermont, mainly. Um, I lived with my mom, and we lived in my grandfather's house. And he was a very successful realtor. Him and my grandmother. She was a successful nurse, so they were able to come from. Hold on, baby. Hold on. Yeah, hold on one second. They were able to come from Mississippi to Los Angeles, California, with all their hard work and money, and came and build a substantial living for my mother and my aunt and my uncle. They did a great job. Were able to have a large home, and because of that, once my mama had me at a young age of 19, she stayed in that home up until we were nine, until I was nine, I'm sorry, in 96. And that's pretty much where she raised me. It was just me and her, thugging it for the longest time. She was a hardworking woman at Bank of America, young. So, you know, she kept me active, kept me going as long as we lived in Los Angeles. And it was fun, even though I didn't have my dad there. um, I always wanted that relationship. I used to always pray, Lord, I want to have a dad. I want to have a brother and sister. I used to always tell that to my mom. And she, I'm pretty sure felt some kind of way about it, but she didn't show it. And she did the best that she could to make sure that I wasn't missing. I wasn't without. I hope y'all can still hear me, even though I got all these little distractions. Hey, hey, go back over there. Thank you. I told you this is trill. So it's gonna be me talking to y'all, but me also talking to my babies. I am number one, a wife and a mama. No, I'm number one God's child and a wife and a mama. But I'm also a woman. I'm T. So yeah, so we were in California up until I was 9. She did the best that she could on her own, um, while getting assistance from my grandfather, of course. And sorry, I'm just changing the music. Okay, anyways. And so around 96, one of her um friends that she used to work with, which is somebody who was in my childhood when I was real, like when I was a baby. She used to really be a big factor in my life when I was a baby, but she moved. We hadn't seen her for a while. Her and her family came visit us in 96, and they lived in Louisiana, in Brokerage, Louisiana. And they saw that at the time my mom was having a hard time. She just lost her well-paying job at Bank of America. So, being a young 28, 29-year-old woman, you know, that kind of really took a lot out of her. And she was struggling then, but didn't let me see it. But I knew it was a difference because we used to can just get up and go. And if I wanted McDonald's or do whatever, we used to could do that. But now it was like, no, I don't have the money for that. Or you have to ask your grandfather, or it would be times I remember during that time period, she made sure that I ate, but she didn't. And so I knew that it was a big difference. And so when my aunt came with a plan for my mom to move, for me and my mom to move to Breaux Bridge, Louisiana with us, and my mom presented it to me, I was excited because I lived in Los Angeles, California all my life. Cali was all I knew. To be honest, I was 9 years old, so I didn't even know about Louisiana. I didn't even know Louisiana existed. All I knew was Cali. So, and I had got real close with Melinda's kids, which like are now my play cousins. They became my play cousins, and so I was like, yeah, we'd be a big family. Da 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 da. That's all I was seeing and all I was thinking. I was a kid, so my mom took that information and we moved. We packed up our life, moved out of my grandfather's house. Um, he was left there by himself, and me and my mom moved to Breaux Louisiana. Um, and when we did, life definitely changed. So we were staying with Melinda in this small little city, little not even city, child, town. Like when I mean town, everybody know each other's name by name, what they do. Everybody know each other's business. You walk outside, you gonna hear cows, see cows across the field, and crickets, all that stuff. I'm a big city girl. You know what I'm saying? I'm used to going to West Hollywood or to the beach for an adventure, not just go outside and look at the cows or run around in the ditches. No, I was like, what is this? It was like a big culture shock. Like I was used to being able to stay active and doing things on weekends to like we ain't got nothing to do, ain't nothing out here to do. We gotta go to the big city to do it. And then when you do go to the big city, which was Lafayette, it wasn't nothing to do as kids. So we had to I went from having actual recreational places to go to having to learn to use my imagination and make my own fun. And it was cool, because I wasn't by myself. I had my cousins, and so we made the most out of it. We did, all of us living in under one roof. I ain't gonna say it was all perfect. Oh no, you know, you can about imagine having two different families living in a small quarters. We had issues, yes, we did, but we all was supportive and we all, loved each other and we made the best of it, made the most of it. We only stayed there for about a year with her. And during that same time, my mama got in a relationship. with my stepdad. And next thing I know, she was engaged. So I was like, oh, I didn't really know the dude like that, but my mama seemed happy. She seemed sure of herself. So, like, a new adventure. What can I say? I'm only 9, well, 10 at this time. Like I say, little distractions, y'all. Go ahead and excuse me. Girl. Yeah, I got you, girl. Well, so, my stepdad and her, they had a real cool relationship. I could tell when he took me in open arms, him and his entire family. They never treated me like I was just my mom's child or like I was a stepchild. Get from behind there, please. Thank you. They treated me like I was their own. Um, and I love that. I love the family environment. I was like, yeah, I finally get a dad. Oh my God. Thank you, mama. Our life is getting complete. We ended up moving in a smaller town from Broke Ridge, something called Cecilia, which was even, oh, country, but we ended up purchasing our own property. We had a little trailer there, and it was like our little home, our little oasis. We made it work, made it beautiful. I was able to make good friends with the neighbors. We had our own little sense of community. My mama had got pregnant with my little brother, my middle brother. And I was like, okay, well, it's really starting to get together. I'm a big sister now. That's a big deal. I always wanted to be a big sister. I have a dad. Things was getting like for me. I felt like my prayers was really coming true. Because when I was a kid in California, although I enjoyed the time that my mom gave me, or the time I spent with my grandfather, or with any friends of hers, or whatever, doing whatever. Deep down, I always wanted to have a dad and siblings. Like, I wanted to have a complete family. As much as my mom did and was amazing, I knew that there was a complete family that, can make it even more wonderful. So, in 97, 98, when my parents got married and my sibling was born, it felt like my dreams was coming true. I was really happy, really excited, starting this new school and everything, getting a new sense of friendship. Whatever I felt from not being in Los Angeles, it didn't exist anymore. I was finally starting to fit in and get my peace. Oh Lord Jesus, this child here, y'all. She gonna be. This is my entertainment. If y'all can look, you want to see her? Look, say hey. That's Leah. So anyway, it was cool for a good minute, and then between like 99, 2000, uh, some things got real crazy. Uh, my parents both were drinking heavily every night. My mom was working at the nursing home while trying to take care of a newborn baby and me, and coming home and trying to be wife. And my dad, my stepdad, he was working as a maintenance man for some apartments. They both was doing pretty well, working class people, and were taking care of us. But you know, life and bills, it just was the responsibility. I'm pretty sure it was a lot. I can understand now. It really was. So they were drinking heavily, and from the drinking heavily, it would go from my mama changing. Like I felt like I'd always say, when my mama would drink, she would become Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Before she would drink, she'd be herself, the most sweetest, logical, patient person. Then as soon as she started drinking, child hit that. It was like a whole show. It would go from her complaining and her um, showing her dissatisfaction of where she is in life and what's going on. And then she would compliment me and make me feel as if I was better than her in a good way. It would start off like that. And then the more she kept drinking, she'd start to belittle, diminish me, diminish my character, diminish my dad. It just became a real toxic environment when she started drinking. Like it became abusive between her and my dad, and with me as well. You know, her frustrations, Leah, come on, her frustrations would really start to show. Her irritation or her disgust with herself and life and everything was really shown. And because of that, it was one real incident where it got really bad between me and her and really scary. So I ran to my neighbor's house across the street. Well, my dad said go to the neighbor's house across the street. I didn't just ran. He said go to the neighbor's house across the street. And when I did, they called the cops, you know, because they didn't know how to handle it and what was going on. And they just saw me panicking and looking upset and looking like me and my mom had just gotten in a fight because that's what it was. I was 11, 12 years old and we were physically fighting. Well, she was physically fighting me. Um, and so, due to that incident, that was like our first actual situation of being taken away with child protection services. Me and my younger brother, you know, in a small country town like that, and you're a black person not making that much money, and they coming in, it's not much investigation that they're gonna do. They hear what's going on, and then they move, and that's exactly what happened. 'Cause how I feel is, yeah, my mama was tripping, and I feel like she needed the proper help. You know what I'm saying? She needed the proper help. She to deal with all that what she was dealing with that was new. She was a wife for the first time. She was a mother of multiple kids for the first time, and she was dealing all of this in this new place. And her and my dad's finances was not what she expected it to be or where it should have been for our growing family. So I get that now as an adult. That's a lot. That's a lot for anybody to handle. And she just unfortunately did not handle the responsibility or priorities the best way. And she needed help. And she didn't get that help. The help that she received was them removing us from her my parents' custody for over a year. Like what was good and crazy at the same time. Um, we weren't too far from my parents. We were in the same neighborhood at one of my neighbors' house. Um, was also my best friend. Their grandchild was also my best friend. And we went to school together. So it was kind of cool. You know, I was still able to at least see my parents in passing, but I couldn't go to their house. Couldn't go to our house, the house that I was living in for a little minute. And it just was it's kind of like sad and lonely. You know, me and my brother, we were together, which was cool. I was able to watch over him and make sure nothing happened to him. Like was able to stop, girl. Go over there, baby. Thank you. Go over there. I appreciate you. I love you. Go over there. Mama coming. I was able to step up like a big sister and make sure that my brother was okay. You know, that my mama wasn't worried that of anything happening to him since he was a little bitty baby. And I just made sure that I did what I was supposed to, be good out of my mama's care so that way we can get back home, you know. And I appreciate Miss Verdon and Latasha and their family so much. And Latasha, you can hear me. I know y'all out in Thibodeau, Gibson, Louisiana. I, it's been years since I talked to y'all, but I really appreciate your family, you and your family, for taking me and my brother Pi in. Thanks to y'all, we are doing very well. You know, we're not where we want to be in life, but y'all didn't have to take us in. So thank you for that, honestly. But after that time period, we were able to go back home to our family, and things got better for a little while. After my parents got the help that they needed, took the practices and took the classes and everything that they needed to prove that they were fit to take care of us, we were able to go back. And like I said, things were well for a while, and then it got worse, like worse, worse. Not so much with me, but my parents like fighting and being very disrespectful, and it just became a real toxic, hated environment. So after that year, no, that summer, that following summer, we ended up getting taken away again. The summer of me going into eighth grade. Well, I was supposed to go into eighth grade, but due to everything that was going on, I failed the seventh grade. So instead of me graduating from high school in 2005 with all my classmates, I graduated in 2006 because I was like, well, my mom's not here. I lost interest in school. I used to be an A, B, maybe one C because math was not my subject. I was an A, B, C student. And then when that year, with all us being taken away and I'm not having my mom to be on me and to support me like she normally did, I stopped. I lost interest in school. I didn't care. I ain't had nobody telling me I was going to be punished or anything. So I was like, well, I'm going to do what I want. And I paid for that. I paid for that. I was busy. I was cutting up in school. Not really cutting up, but I was talking when the teacher, I was talking out of turn. So I had to go to in school suspension once or twice for being disrespectful and not listening to the teacher because I felt like I was grown at 12 years old, not knowing shit. But I didn't care about school anymore. I lost interest and I had to pay for that because I failed that summer. Um, and instead of me staying, having to repeat the same grade there, we got taken away again. And I had to repeat the same grade in this foreign town. Well, before I get there, well, that summer we got taken away instead of me and my brother. Just one second, y'all. Hey, girl, what you doing? You better chill. You gotta go potty? You do? Did you potty on you? Okay, y'all. One second. I'll be back. Anyways, like I was saying, so that summer going into my, which should have been my eighth grade year, but having to repeat my the seventh grade year, we were taken away again, me and my brother. Instead of us being together like we were the last time, we were taken to two shelters. He was taken to a shelter for infants and babies, and I was taken to a shelter for kids. Um, he was only there though for about like, I think a day or two, because my stepdad he has a bunch of kids. He's who's grown and everything. So his eldest son stepped up and stepped up for my brother. Unfortunately, they didn't do the same for me. Um, they didn't want to deal with a teenager. I understand that. They ain't had no kids and just didn't want to deal with a teenager. So they stepped up for my brother. So he was with them, I want to say probably for about a year, maybe 2 years. Um, and they did a wonderful job with him. Actually, they loved him so much that they was trying to adopt him. They, before they was able to have their own kids, they wanted to adopt. But my mama wasn't having that. She may be unfit, but she loved the shit out of her kid. That's true. She wasn't having that, and they it didn't go through. But I was at a kid shelter, which honestly it sounds like, oh my god, a shelter, but it's Lafayette, Louisiana. So whatever you think it is, it wasn't that bad. It honestly felt like a summer camp. It was a lot of, and it felt good, honestly, because previously, where I was, even though I was able to stay in my own city, I mean, my own town, and be around the new friends that I forge a community with and everything like that, I like I didn't mention anything of my personal life. I That's one of the gifts God gave me. I was hurting and things wasn't right at home, but I went to school every day like nothing was going on. I never shared my personal business. with anybody. I think I told my best friend Sasha, but I didn't even tell her in the beginning. I told her after a while. Honestly, fear for judgment, and I'm a very strong person. I don't want your pity, nor do I want you to look at me crazy. And I was like a 12-year-old kid, so what 12-year-old kid is going to share? Hey, we're in CPS custody. Yeah, no, no one wants to do that. So I didn't, and I just went through my first year of seventh grade while I was still down the street from my parents, like everything was normal. And but although deep down inside, I knew things wasn't normal, and so I that because of knowing that truth, as much as I was trying to stay fit in, I didn't feel like I fit in anymore. I felt like everyone else had normal lives. They were living with their family. They were able to go home in their own room and able to have their friends over, and their parents was decent, and I didn't have that at that time. So I was going through that battle by myself. And so when we got taken away again and we was in this children's shelter, it kind of felt a little bit comforting in a weird way because I'm not the only person here, going through something traumatic like that as a child. We all are at this shelter because our parents were going through stuff. And honestly, being there and I got close to so many people. Like, I remember all of them to and whoever. I'm sorry, y'all, because I'm still healing. So this is my journey. Y'all gonna get it all of y'all that I met in the children's shelter in Karen Cole, Louisiana, from Sherry to Mary, Bridget, Mike, Brandon. I remember all of y'all. Dewana, I hope y'all are doing so well in life. Y'all made the summer of my 13th year memorable. Like, y'all really did. I never really had like a close friendship like that with people and people that that I was going through that could help me while I was going through stuff. Like I said, this is trill, y'all. I got kids, so no telling what what might be on my face. But we really were there for one another. You know what I'm saying? We all were of different ages. I think, well, no, I wasn't the youngest one, but say from age 9, being the youngest, all the way up to age 18. And huh, you want some cake? Okay, I'm gonna see what I got for you, girl. One second, okay? All right. Um, yeah, we were all from different ages, from 9 up until 18. And the one who I got the closest with, Mary, that was 18 at the time when I was just 13. So I'm finna be 38, so she should be 40, she 42 now. I pray that she is very successful and that whatever challenges she had in life, that she is amazing because she really took me in her arms like a big sister would. She made sure that I wasn't sad. She made sure that I was hopeful to go back home to my parents. And she told me a little bit of her story that I remember, and it was rough. It was really rough. It was really rough. So for her to be going through what she went through as a young girl, getting ready to enjoy the world, go to college, and all of that, she was able to still take me and a bunch of us under her arm, and we loved Mary. Mary was amazing. She was cool. She even though we all was younger than her, she didn't treat us like I don't know nothing like she was fun with us, and she was just a big help. And when she had to leave the shelter because she was old, the only reason why she was at our shelter was because the shelter she was supposed to be in, it was too full. So when she left and had to go over there, it was very sad. Like it's like that was the start of it getting real. Like I said, stop, girl, go over there, baby. It felt like a summer camp, right? It felt because they kept us active, even though we were all displaced children for traumatic reasons. They kept every day we had an activity to go to: bowling, swimming, movie theaters, zoo, uh, entertainment, park ranch or whatever. It's like the Funplex or main event in Louisiana. Um, they take us to different. They kept us busy every day while making sure that we did our chores and stuff inside the shelter. You know, there was a board behind where every boys and girls each had a different, you know, weekly chore that kept us going and kept us focused. And if the chores weren't done on time, then we couldn't go to the activity for that day. So the girls always made sure that we did our chores on time. And, you know, the boys, they always did it last minute, but we always got to go. Sometimes, actually, sometimes boys wouldn't do their chores. So the boys had to stay and the girls got to go. So it was cool. You know, it was really cool. But once Mary left to go to the proper show that she was supposed to be in, it's like you felt her presence being gone. And it just kind of like, oh man, when am I gonna go? I wanna go. Then from when she left, my homegirl Sherry left. And Sherry, I hope you're doing good, girl. As beautiful as you are and was, I hope you're doing good. You know, I'm pretty sure you got babies right now. And I pray that you happily married with those babies and doing successful in your career. Sherry was from Alexandria. She had a sister that was a little bit older. Her sister, nah, her sister looked like she'd beat your ass with the quickness. So I didn't really talked to the sister that much. Her sister was in the other shelter though, so couldn't really talk to her anyways. But sometimes we'd have outings in their shelter, our shelter, and the boys' teenage shelter. You know, we'd have to interact. Um, but then yeah, after Mary left, Sherry ended up leaving. I think she ended up going to the same shelter with her sister, and then from there they ended up going back home. So then it was just me and my homegirl Bridget, and then like a few other people. And then my homegirl Delana. She ended like once Mary left, everybody kind of started leaving one by one, which was good because either they were going back to their families, or unfortunately they had to go to a foster family or something like that. So by the time all my close friends from this shelter started leaving, and it's getting close to the end of summer, the school year's getting ready to start. I had to go to a shelter. I wasn't able to go back straight home either. So I left. I my social worker, Miss Nanette Gooch. If you still up and alive, I hope you doing well, Miss Gooch. I love you. I know that you're not no longer in CPS work. I heard that it was, you know, I get it. It just was too much, and you were such a beautiful woman. So I understand, Miss Gooch. I love you, and I hope you're doing well. But Miss Gooch, who was the most beautiful social worker, you know what I'm saying? She came and she took me shopping and got all my stuff, and we ended up going to Maurice. That's where she found me a foster family for that school year for the time being. And the Shagwa family in Maurice, all of y'all, I just want to say shout out. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm sorry that it's been years, decades since we spoken, but I hope that all of you guys are doing well. You guys became my family away from my family. I was placed with the Shagwell family, and they were known in Maurice to have foster kids and stuff like that, which was beautiful because they have a big family. Like they had 8 kids, but they was all grown and stuff like that. They had a big family, and for them to still want to continue to do foster care work, you know, there was nothing but angels. Um, they was elders, so they wanted. We called them Papa and Mom and Papa and Mama. Uh, Papa, I forget his name, but Mama Antonia Shackleford, and she loved me, and I loved her. We would always cook together. She showed me how to make the 1, 2, 3 cake. She showed me how to make fig pies. But she didn't really show me, but because I'm greedy, I would be in the kitchen with her, watching her do it. I don't really remember all of it. I just like being in the kitchen with her while she would cook. And as soon as it was done and hot and ready, she let me have some, let me sample it. But we would cook and I would watch Lifetime movies together every Sunday. I would watch some of the stories with her, but I was a kid, so that would get boring. But I had my own room in the back. It was beautiful. It was bigger than any room I've ever had. And it was just cool. Like I had my own space. Even though I was far away from my parents and I only could see them once or twice a week and talk. She let me, my foster mom, she would let me talk to my mom all the time. Like she wanted me to keep talking to her. Sometimes she'd be like, "Did you call your mama today?" And if something good happened at school, she'd like, "Call your mama, tell her." She kept making sure that I stayed in contact with my mother. She even she didn't even have to do this, but she knew how much I loved my mama, and she knew how much my mama loved us. And so after she met my mom during the visitation, and she got the feel of my mom, she knew that my mom was a beautiful soul, but just needed help and just was going through a rough time. So she felt comfortable enough to let us let me, my little brother he was good, but let me go on weekends with her, without no one knowing. So that was cool. It was like our little secret. As long as my mama was doing what she was supposed to, not drinking and keeping in contact. I would go with my mom on weekends. And by that time, my mom and my dad wasn't together. My dad was living in Lafayette with my grandmother, and she doing, yeah. And so it was just my mom living in Cecilia and on our property. And so when I would go for weekends, it would just be me and her, you know. My brother was at was not social service, well, we was in still CPS custody. He was living with my stepbrother who was trying to adopt him at the time. And so it was just me and her again. And it was cool, but it felt empty because I know I had a brother and I love my dad very much. So I just was like, well, I can't wait till we get together and be a family again. Da, 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 da. Da. But meanwhile, my mom probably was like, girl, I am not getting back together with that man. But I ain't finna bust your little bubble. But girl, that ain't finna happen. So um, I continued my 13th year living with the Shadwell family. And it was a very interesting year. Let me put this. That was the year, like I said, I wasn't in my mama care. So since me being 13, I felt a little womanish. I was hanging with a lot with my foster cousin who was 21 and had kids. She smoked weed. So she introduced me to smoking weed at 13. Now that I think about it, we're finna be 13-year old. I will beat somebody ass. But I was 13. She was smoking me every now and then. Not every day. Nah, not every day. But every now and then, we would smoke. Um, and it's not like she made me do it. I would always see her smoke. And I would just ask her a question. I'm like, what is it do? What is it? And I would just, she got tired of asking. She said, here, just hit a little bit. You ain't gonna do it. So I remember hitting it for the first time. I was like, I don't feel nothing. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is funny. And yeah, back then, I ain't gonna lie, we just disclaimer. The weed back in 2000, the Reggie weed, OMG, fire. Whatever little bullshit's floating around nowadays, no. That weed, I don't know because I was young or whatever, but I used to see cartoon characters. For real, I would see cartoon characters. I would see Foghorn Leghorn, because they had this. They stayed in the trailer and they had this wood panel stuff, on the walls, and I'd be staring at it. And it's really Foghorn Leghorn. Anyways, so 13 is when I started smoking weed, and then getting introduced to boys. Cause we went the middle school that we went to. You okay over there, girl? Yeah, okay. The middle school that we went to, in North Vermilion, Maurice. Anybody out there? Shout out to y'all, North Vermilion High. It's like middle school and high school. So the seventh and eighth graders were basically like in the trenches, in the bungalows, and then from there you get to go in the main building, in the high school. But anyways, so my little young ass get to see all the boys. I got to see senior boys, junior boys, sophomore boys, freshman boys, and then the little seven, eighth grade boys that was with us. Yeah, it was like I was a kid in a candy shop. I ain't even lying. And the cold part about me was I wasn't even interested in the little seventh and eighth grade boys. Like, I guess because everything I was going through and everything, my spirit and my mind, my heart and everything was maturing. I didn't even realize it. And I know it was maturing because the group of girls that kind of gravitated to me, or we gravitated towards each other in the beginning, like the shit they would start talking about and the way they was acting, I was like, I got too much going on. I ain't got time for that. And I started doing that at 13 years old, second year of seventh grade, separating myself from bullshit. So I just stopped hanging with them. I wasn't no beef. They would be in their feelings because I wasn't hanging with them and start hanging with somebody else. But I don't, I'm the type of person, I have experienced a lot of drama and conflict early. So if I get that energy from somebody who's supposed to be peaceful or supposed to be cool, baby, I'm just not gonna fuck with you. I'm not gonna fuck with you. I mean, now I'm gonna try to figure out what is going on, what the problem is, and because it's more to it. It's not just cut dry, not fuck with them. I get it. People have hurt and they just can't express it. So now I'm more like, well, let's get to the resolution. If we can, cool. If we can't, then we part ways. But that at that time, with me being so sensitive with everything that I was dealing with, I separated myself from them. I ain't had time for the mess. I ain't had time for the judgment. I ain't had time for none of that. So I was just hanging with my homegirl, Tony. Tony Percio. Hey. Catio girl. Hey. Me and Tony was hanging and we found our little group of misfit friends. And they helped bring my seventh grade, or my second year of seventh grade, um, together. Even though, huh, baby? Okay, girl, hold on. Hold on, girl. I love you. They help, you know, that transitional period, to feel normal. They did. I was able to feel like laugh and joke like a normal teenager. Uh, one of the issues, don't touch me. That's gonna mess up the whole camera. Here, you want to see this? One of the run-ins that I did run into, because like I said, I went to middle school slash high school. I've always been kind of more developed for my age and mentally more mature for my age. So the older boys were starting to look my way. I had my first, I guess, like boyfriend. Honestly, he was 18. He was a senior. We didn't do anything. Honestly, he was a really sweet guy. He was a really sweet guy, and he really liked me. He was really being real sweet and kind with me. But to get wild, we broke up. It's not important, but we stopped talking. I think he dropped out and stopped going because he stayed in the same neighborhood where I was staying with my foster people. So that's how we started talking because I was like me and my foster brother was like the only young kid, and we caught the bus. Leah, please get from behind there. Thank you. Um, Caught the bus with like 15, 16, 18, big kid. So we were like the only little runts out there with him. But Like the way I handle myself, how I wasn't just out there cutting up like all girls, silly little girls. I just was to myself. But I wasn't like shy or nothing. So he liked that. And so we started talking for a little bit. When I mean talking, literally, that's all we do. We talk on the phone. I don't even know what about. I was 13. Or he would um, come outside by my cousin's house, my foster cousin house, and we would just sit outside and talk. You know, cutesy stuff, hold hands, or he would go with if he go to the store, go to the snowball stand. He made sure he bring something for me. He's a real kind guy. But then he's like I said, he just stopped going to school. I ain't see him no more. I don't know if he moved or what. He stopped going to school. And I didn't see him in the neighborhood anymore. So it's like we were talking, and he was there, and then hey, we weren't. But I mean, I didn't get sad or anything. I'm like, I'm 13. I ain't trying to be in no serious relationship. It is what it is. Then from there, I started talking to this 15-year-old dude named Brian. Brian, died. He was handsome, but if I'm being totally honest, he reminded me of Franklin, the turtle. He reminded me of Franklin. And I know I can't talk because I done heard the same thing. Oh, you look like a turtle, pit bull. I done heard all that shit. But he looked like a turtle. But, I was like, oh, he's another older guy, and he was on the basketball team. So, doing a little something. Yeah, Brian was not the nigga for me. So, Brian convinced me, and I'm being young and everything, and thinking that I'm doing something, or I should be doing something. Basically to give my virginity up to him. He did, and we did. We tried. It was not a success because, ladies, being honest, the dick was too small. It kept slipping out. But he gonna tell me I was too tight. The hell does that mean? I don't know what the hell that mean. I'm 13 years old. So I'm like, well, whatever. Anyway, so, hmm, hmm, yeah, I know. Can you go over there? What's wrong? What's wrong? Okay, y'all, I'll be back. Let me take care of baby girl, find her something. Yes, like I was saying, Brian, should I call him not Brian Kelly? You know who you are. Mentioned that I was too tight, so that's why we couldn't do what we do. Da, 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 da. Anyway, so being a young, dumb bunny, I felt bad. Why? But I felt bad. And he peer pressured me into basically sucking his dick. And I was like, "Well, I don't do that." And, I was young back then. He's like, no, you don't do that. Nobody does that. That's, you're a whore if you do stuff like that. So that was against my principles. And I gave in. I did. And I'm thinking, well, it's my boyfriend, whatever. Child, that Monday, that nigga broke up with me. And then he told everybody. When I mean everybody, he told every nigga that I did that. And I wasn't even that kind of girl. So imagine the horror of dealing with that, right? You, I'm, you, I'm not gonna say I was clean cut, but yeah, I'm a wholesome young lady, God fearing. Maybe didn't go to church every day, wasn't active in the church, but I knew who God was, and we would go to church. I was a good girl. I was a mommy girl. So I wanted to make sure whatever I did, my mama was proud. And doing something like that ain't gonna make your mama proud. So I would never do stuff like that. So for me to have to break my morals to do that, and I'm thinking it's on the hush, and this nigga telling everybody at this, you remember when I said North Vermilion was middle school and high school? So I'm dealing with preteen boys and actual teen becoming young men boys. All of a sudden, it went from guys just smiling at me or not really paying attention to me to niggas coming up to me. really trying to get conversation with me. But luckily, God blessed me with strong discernment, wisdom. Why are you coming up to me all of a sudden? One of the boys, I've been had a crush on. So I was like, okay, you know. But still, I was like, nigga, no, I'm not about to chill with you. You weren't even worried about me 2 weeks ago. But I'm pretty sure you talked to Brian, and that's why you in front of my face. No, I don't want to talk to you. Leave me alone. And so, for like after that happened, that incident happened, I want to say for 3 months, weird situations. Like, not say weird situations, but these weird ass niggas kept coming up to me, and then what was the boiling point? I'm in science class, normal 7th grade science class, and I forget the little dude name, but I see his old peanut head self. Um, he gonna try to front street me. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You the one that doing all that with Brian. Did that in class, right? While the teacher talking, but our area was a bunch of black people, looking for mess. So it was like, oh, I was like, oh. So Brian really out here telling people, and y'all think it's when I said, baby, I said, instead of you worrying about me doing that to Brian, ask Brian why his dick was too small and why the shit kept falling out. So he begged me to do that. I sure did. And then after that, that stopped all the rumors. That stopped all the noise. It sure did. And I was able to complete my 7th grade in peace there. And I think because of that incident is why unfortunately, I never went back to Maurice to talk to my foster family. And it sucks because they were really good. Aunt Emma taking me in, especially when I was there. Like, when I was there, I really became family. Like, I really did. You know, Mama's sisters, well, not sisters, her daughters, her grown daughters who all had children of their own. They looked at me like I was a little sister. They really did. They would come get me, take me shopping. They would talk to me, give me advice. They would encourage me and tell me how beautiful I was, but how beautiful a heart and mind I have, even though I'm going through that. They kept encouraging me, kept saying, you know, God got a plan for you. This is just one of the beginnings of your story, of who you are. Don't you let this, kept really encouraging me and loving me, taking me in their arms. And that's why I felt bad that I allowed a personal situation, with my name being dragged through the mud to get to me, and for me to not go back and keep that relationship with them going. So all I can say is Tasha, Sherry, and Brenda, and Emma, Melinda, Belinda, I love you guys. And I don't know if you guys will ever see this video, but you, I hope y'all do. And I hope y'all know that y'all were a very strong support during a very pivotal time in my life. And it's because of that love and support that I'm able to keep going. So thank you. Like I said, I'm sorry that I wasn't able to go back and I missed passing of Pawpaw. And I'm pretty sure by now passing of Momo. Um, but I know that they're in a better place and they will always be in my heart and soul. And I'm grateful that they are now my ancestors and that they were here on this earth being able to show me, one, what a strong black couple was, what a strong black family was, and regardless of what you going through, how to still be there for someone else. I learned that with them. I did. And I learned also to work hard and to appreciate what you have worked hard for. So thank you guys. But yeah, after that incident, it's, okay, so I just want to make sure it wasn't balls up. After that incident with Brian, unfortunately, I never turned back. And by this time, my mom, I think her and my dad, no, they didn't sell the property yet. They didn't have to sell it. But no one was living there. Like the property just became abandoned. Like my mom left, my dad left, and it was just sitting there. My mom was living in Lafayette with my aunt, the one who brought us from Los Angeles to Louisiana. And like I said, y'all gonna see these teeth. It is what it is. If y'all know a good dentist, hey, it's affordable because your girl, I ain't got no insurance. I'm trying to make it. So yeah, this is what it is. Um, yeah. So she was living in Lafayette. So me and my brother at that whole time while I was in the shelter, and then Maurice, like I said, he was with my stepbrother, and he was getting older, getting ready to start pre-K. So by that time, we was living again with my aunt in Lafayette until my mama was able to get a place of her own. And so then by that time, I, I ain't gonna lie, my mama knew. She knew that something was different about me, and she knew what the difference was. While she was gone at work during that time, um, I was sneaking. Me and the next door neighbor boy was sneaking and freaking. Ain't gonna lie, we was sneaking and freaking. He was at that time I was turning 14. He was like 15, about to be 16. So we was sneaking and freaking hard for like a while up until he graduated. He wasn't my boyfriend. Like it's crazy. He wasn't my boyfriend, and I didn't want him to be my boyfriend. We just was like fucking partners, basically. Like he was teaching me, and I was being taught. But he was the only person that I really was having sex with at that time for years. And then he graduated, left, went to college, and I ain't never seen him again. That's pretty much how it went. Then after that, um, that's when I really started dating. By that time, I wasn't no more, you know, a rookie in the sex game, but when it came to dating, I was very much so a rookie because I like even though I was sneaking and freaking with the neighbor boy, I wasn't really serious with no boy because I was like, these boys is retarded, and I'm not gonna give up who I am for these little special ass little boys. I'm gonna keep focused on making. I wasn't making the best grades, but making decent grades. I had an after school job, so like I was working towards something. I wanted to get me a car, and then eventually, um, depending on what school or what I wanted to go to school for, go to college and, build from there. So like I wasn't really trying to be in a relationship because in Lafayette, in Louisiana, down south, when you a teenager and in a relationship, it's like these girls would lose their mind behind these niggas. They would end up in an abusive relationship at a young age, or end up pregnant at a young age, end up being controlled at a young age. It just was crazy. All because they wanted love or they wanted a young man to do for them and buy them tennis shoes and get their hair and nails done. I'm like, I can work and get that shit myself. I am not gonna put up with him and his bullshit just to do that. So yeah, I wasn't dating nobody. Honestly, my whole high school career, like I had like a small little relationship when I was in ninth grade, and then it was so innocent but boring at the same time. I was like, yeah, I broke up with him. Shout out to Giovanna Rodriguez. Much love to you, but I just wasn't interested. I wasn't interested. He was a good guy, sweet guy, but I just was not interested in being somebody boo at that age. So I didn't start getting into my serious relationships up until 19 after high school. And he honestly was younger than me. Devin Thomas, shout out to you. You are the first person who in first family who showed me what true love, but not say true love, what first love is. Yeah, I can't say true love. What first love is. Um, and what it is to have that familiar love and support from someone else that's not your actual family. So that was beautiful because by that time, me and my mom's relationship, it was non-existent. Because I am totally to blame now that I'm thinking of it, just because she was going through whatever she was going through to try to make it better. Oh, by that time, also she ended up having another baby with some guy that she worked with, and so by this time, um, so, while I was in high school before I graduated, I was not working at my part-time job right after school. I would come straight home and watch my two brothers, my cousin's two kids, and my cousin. So every day for a while, um, whether I had a job or not, I would be babysitting my younger siblings and my younger kids. So that is another reason why I was like, I'm not about to have no kids. These kids is it. And I say never, but if I w- I was definitely not trying to have no kids as a teenager or as a young adult. I wanted to enjoy my life, and I knew I wanted to have a family, but that time was not it. Um, so let me fix that.